And we're off.
Hell yeah. So, what do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about all kinds of shit, bro.
Yeah.
I would like to touch on politics with you, in terms of like the election, the oncoming election.
Yeah. I'm pretty cynical about elections generally, but I do enjoy following
Yeah, I feel, and I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you about the government and its
Yeah.
effectiveness.
Yeah.
In your opinion, are you familiar with Friedman at all?
A little bit, yeah.
Really?
Not a huge fan. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can definitely understand that. I
Yeah.
just started looking at his
Yeah.
shit. I'm super late, but like the other day.
Yeah, we're talking about Milton Friedman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's all that we could talk about.
Yeah.
Poverty and fixes for it.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
there's that. And just kind of like bookmark all these ideas
Yeah.
if you would.
I'm poor as fuck right now, but so I feel like I could talk about some poverty shit.
Dude, Harrisonburg's a good
Yeah.
place to be poor in.
Mhm.
Well,
It really is. It really
I
is.
shouldn't.
No, I mean being poor sucks wherever you're at, but Harrisonburg's like, at least Harrisonburg doesn't have like $800 a month rent.
Correct. Yeah. Dude. Yeah. This dude just asked me to move to DC today.
Oh really? No.
Yeah,
no
he was
way.
like, "Hey man, I need a fucking roommate." I was
Yeah.
like, I'm probably gonna be here for at least another 6 months. I was like,
Yeah.
How much is it? I might, could tell someone if they're interested. It was like $700.
Damn.
I was like,
I had a lot of fantasies about moving to bigger cities, but never DC.
I had a dream about it like 5 months ago.
Yeah, really?
That I fucking moved to DC.
Yeah.
It was very strange.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, this is verging away from politics, more into personal stuff. I had a friend, a buddy of mine. It was political. He was an activist, but he lived in DC. And he lived in one of those townhouses. I feel like it was like a neighborhood that was like getting gentrified, but
Okay.
hadn't been gentrified yet.
Let's talk about that too.
Oh, gentrified? Yeah, definitely. But he would just throw these house parties. They're for a good cause. They were like fundraisers for political support for prisoners and stuff, But they were just these wild fucking house parties, and I at some point in my life I was determined that that's where I was gonna live. But
For real?
But I think it was just because that scene, I liked.
Right. Yeah.
It was like instead of going to the bar and dancing till 2 a.m., like people would be dancing till like 6 a.m.
And
their house,
raising money for prisoners.
Yeah, it was tight.
Dude, why have I not done that?
Yeah, we should just throw a house party.
Fucking brilliant, bro. If I could put money on everyone's books that I grew up with, that's in like prison right now.
Yeah.
That would be fucking amazing.
It's easy, you just like throw a house party, and you kind of. I've been to a couple. This was like in a different life, but like I've been to a couple house parties. Oh, of course, yeah, of course. I've been to a couple of house parties structured this way, where you just like basically have a bar that like. It's not like a donate what you want, but it's like basically like, yeah, give me a couple bucks to give you a, just go to the liquor store beforehand,
Right.
And that will raise you a shit ton of money. Like, it's not, I don't know how legal it is, but.
Oh no, it's super not legal.
Yeah.
But you know what? A lot of shit is fucking illegal that shouldn't be.
True, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so prison reform.
Yeah.
You wanna go in on that first?
I got into this subject. I was like friends with a lot of anarchists, and they were like a lot of prisoners and stuff.
I think that's that's the political ideology that I feel like most suits me.
Yeah.
Is like, I don't know if this is what it's called, but like communal anarchism.
Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah.
I feel like that term gets like fucked up a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Break it down, like your perception of it.
There's a big tradition of that. Peter Kropotkin is one.
Peter Kropotkin?
Yeah, a Russian guy. He was actually like an aristocrat, but Russian dude. But yeah, he wrote he was a biologist, so he wrote like a biological argument for it. Well, it was so much, he felt like a lot of people, he was like running in the early 20th century, he felt like a lot of Darwinists were overemphasizing like survival of the fittest and like.
Right. I heard that's actually not what he said.
Yeah. No, it's not what Darwin said at all.
Right.
But a lot of right-wing Darwinists were going with it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just making the argument that actually he called mutual aid but like actually there's lots of circumstances in nature, more often than not, where social organisms collaborating is actually what helped them survive. I'm of course not going to do his argument justice, but it's something definitely a book that I really like. You know, for if you want to like anarchist communism, if you will, like this good argument for
anarchist communism,
anarcho-communism, or is sometimes what it's called.
Okay.
But, but like he's a really smart guy. The Russian Revolution happened, and he kind of had an interesting perspective on that. Like, he was super pacifist, so he didn't like the revolution using force. But he also, like, they kept him around, and he like debated them.
Okay. He debated. They didn't send him to Siberia or no shit.
Nah,
like
they weren't there yet. Yeah.
Okay.
They weren't sending people to Siberia at that point.
What are your views on pacifism?
I come from like a Mennonite background, so
deep off in it.
Yeah, I don't know. I like, to me personally, I've never even gotten in a fight, you know. Like,
Okay.
So I guess I'm a pacifist by default, but I think the problem with pacifism is that like there come situations where like one party is exploiting another, where they will not give up by force. So but I think that force is such a complicated thing. I was just talking to a buddy of mine about like self-immolation as a form of protest, you know, like setting yourself on fire.
Yeah, actually, I'm using some of that in some artwork I'm doing.
Hell yeah.
The dude who burned himself.
Which one?
For Vietnam.
Oh yeah, that's an interesting.
He was a monk.
Yeah.
So I heard an interesting take on it. Is like, if you plan to use force against someone who's like fucking MO is force, that's not a good look.
Right.
So at that point, pacifism is required. But
I can see that. I don't know if I agree with it, but I can see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when the people protesting against other people have like similar weaponry and shit like that, and similar like strength, then it fucking, sometimes that's the only way.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. It's interesting, like, what is pacifism? Like the self-immolation thing, like, to me that's a very violent thing, you know. As someone who has depression, I think about suicidal. That's a very violent thing. You think about, like, if you kill yourself, all the people who have grief over your death, you know. And like, I mean, you're pouring gasoline on yourself, lighting yourself on fire. That's a violence against yourself, you know. But I guess it's like you're consenting to do it. I don't know what but I feel like
it's a hell of a statement.
It is. You
know, it's literally your hill to die on. You
know?
Exactly.
You're like, I'm
whatever you're protesting. Yeah.
I guess for me, like, you know, the civil rights struggle, Dr. King, they knew that. I mean, I'm not trying to. Dr. King was a Christian, and he believed in, you know, the deeply in the ethics of it. But also, they knew that the being non-violent. They also had a tactical understanding that non-violence in a certain conjuncture, a certain tactical point of view, a certain like point, gave them the moral high ground and made people more sympathetic to them.
Right. Yeah.
But I think, I don't know.
Did it work?
I mean, Martin Luther King was murdered, and then a bunch of black folks rioted. And I think like the Black Power movement got more militant after that, you know. So I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of people, you know.
Do you feel like the police got more or less militant after that?
Definitely more.
Government.
Definitely more. You know, but I mean, definitely like him being a pacifist didn't stop forces that were repressing him from inflicting violence upon him. So that's something to consider. I feel like the pacifists who I respect least are the people who go to a protest or like, let's be pacifists about this, and then go home to their like bougie like suburban life. Like, you know, Dr. King was out there getting arrested, thrown in these backwoods jails run by like racist Klansmen. He was getting beaten. He was getting eventually shot. You know, like.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, what is the boundaries of it? Like, you know, you familiar with the Industrial Workers of the World at all?
No.
They were like a militant trade union in the U.S. in the early 20s, and so they'd go on strike, you know, KKK really did not like them, and a lot of immigrants, like a lot of Southern European and East European immigrants who the KKK did not like at the time.
Is it like a bunch of Irish folk? And
yeah, Irish, Italian, a lot of Eastern European folks, a lot of Jewish refugees and stuff.
Okay.
And the KKK really hated Italian people, which is an interesting thing now. A lot of Italian people consider themselves white and are racist.
Who doesn't hate Italian people?
Yeah, right. No. But yeah, they'd go.
I joke.
Yeah, they go on strike. I think of a strike as a pacifist. That's not, that's a pretty non-violent way of protesting. But then the KKK would just come and beat up the picket line, and so then they started carrying guns.
Right.
So then I feel then where does the boundaries of pacifism begin? And I think there's some things that definitely are acts of violence that discredit your cause, but also if you're practicing self-defense. I mean, I think that's what Malcolm X was about. He wasn't telling black people to go out and shoot white people. He was just saying,
But he was saying defend yourself, and if you can, police your own communities.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What are your all right, shit. All right, so a lot of wealth is being created right now.
Right.
Okay, jobs are dramatically being changed.
Right, that is, yeah.
Okay, do you feel like corporations are more threatened right now, or have a tighter stranglehold, or not a whole lot of change at all? I know this is a complex subject.
That is a very complex question. That's a good question. I like it. They're not as threatened as they should be.
They're fucking not as threatened.
Yeah.
They keep... Yeah, man. They have so much information on us.
Yeah.
That they can kind of speak to us in a fucked up way. Yeah. We're like, oh, they're one of us.
Yeah.
Type shit.
That intimacy of I think social media allows. I think of course those are corporations in and of themselves, but
Absolutely,
But yeah, the social media creates this sort of illusion. One of the best pieces of satire I've seen recently, I think it was The Onion or Hard Times, did how Wendy's does their Twitter thing where it's they did Wendy's is but it's the same thing, but it's she's trolling people who are her minimum wage workers.
Yeah, shit.
That was a piece of satire, but I think that was that speaks to that.
Damn.
I don't know. I saw a graph. I'm not going to get this right. I'm not a good statistics person, but I saw a graph that was saying that wages have basically stagnated. There's a slight upward curve, but not much since the 70s. But
right. No, I've seen a lot of those same charts.
But yeah, the productivity is skyrocketing.
Yeah. Right. Dude, I heard this is super interesting. You know how you hear back in the day when people made 7 cents a day and shit like that?
Yeah.
And but they had 12 kids.
Yeah.
I heard actually that's kind of if you adjust it to inflation and shit and what money is today, that was actually like quite a fucking bit.
Yeah.
Like pennies back then were worth a shit ton.
Right. I think that's something that people don't consider. I think that's like an argument that people use, that they're not adjusting for inflation, you know.
And some people think that if you take away the infant mortality rate, and adjust for that, actually people are living longer then.
Yeah, that makes sense actually. Yeah.
And they had healthier diets and shit like that.
Infant mortality in the U.S. is actually, if you compare it to other westernized countries and even countries that aren't, infant mortality in the U.S. is actually way higher than it should be.
Really?
Yeah, it's really funny. I mean, that's something, again, I'm not a statistics person, so go to Google that.
Well, dude, I saw a fucking stat recently. It was saying that our wealth gap here is comparable to Jamaica.
Oh, yeah, I believe it. It's insane to think about. If you think about the immense amounts of wealth that are in this country, it's like, you know.
It really is. What do you think of China?
China? China's a really interesting subject. I think that a lot of people get hung up on China. People in the U.S., myself included, don't really see the world the way the world sees itself and the world sees the U.S. because we kind of grow up thinking we're the top of the world. And
do you not think that Chinese folk think that same way?
I bet a lot of them do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think it's interesting because China, what we hear about China is it's like this communist country. I think that
Can I get one last sec?
Oh, of course, you can have as many as you want. I think that China is actually succeeds at capitalism.
Dude, they were better than us.
Yeah.
At our the game that we claimed, that we came up on.
Yeah.
Dude, that's why. That's yet another reason why I think Andrew Yang should be president.
Oh, yeah, he's got that. Andrew Yang's a good
I keep saying that, dude. Like, if you want to be competitive, man, you gotta go with fucking people that are problem solvers, man.
Yo, Andrew Yang, though, I'm trying to, negotiate, I want $2,000 a month from him. I'm trying to, I'm trying to barter him,
start out with one, ask for 3, he'll, knock it down to 2.
Yeah, China's really interesting. There's actually, a lot of, labor militancy in China that doesn't exist in the U.S., and I have a Facebook friend. He's not a friend, he's just a Facebook friend, but he's a cool dude. Who spent some time in China, and there's a lot of labor activism that goes on there, like trade union activism that goes on there, because you can't start a trade union in China without the government's approval.
Obviously.
Yeah, but so there's a lot of labor exploitation that goes on in China, and a lot of people who are getting disappeared trying to form trade unions there, and a lot of them actually want a lot of workers in China or have thought more creatively about coordinated strikes with workers in the U.S., which I think could be, if that ever happened, that would be, I think, paradigm changing.
Sir.
Yeah.
That would change the globe.
It would, yeah.
Dude, if the producers and the consumers work together.
Yeah, definitely.
Bro, that would change everything.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. And with the internet, we can do that before they lock it down.
Yeah. It's easier now than ever,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
but it's also easy to be spied on now than ever.
That's the thing. It's that contradiction that exists there. It's it opens up, communication between workers and exploited people more, but it also allows the government to know what's going on.
Yeah. Dude, every fucking thing is a paradox, dude.
It is.
It truly is, man.
Yeah.
Shit is whack. Dude, all right, so. Where do you stand on policing?
Oh, shit. Cop car just drove by for those listening.
Right, yeah. That literally just happened.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got way too high before this.
No, it's all good. You're at the right level of high.
All right, bet.
I think that, policing... I don't want to be like the guy who's fucking all cops are bastards, but it's just Harrisonburg is a good example of what's fucking wrong with how policing is done, and I mean it's not even the most egregious example because
certainly not,
kids are not getting shot in Harrisonburg, but they did a survey. There's overcrowding in the jail here, and they did a survey. They hired a firm to do it. And they found that, the majority of people being held in the jail, and they're being held without bond,
right,
are, repeat minor offenders where it's, drug possession and, loitering or whatever. It's this a specific community of people in Harrisonburg who have substance abuse issues and who are poor, very poor, even poorer than, the people working at Cargill or people working in the restaurants in Harrisonburg like me, but just people who've been pushed down even below that, and they're just
fell through the cracks.
Yeah, and these cops, I don't necessarily blame the individual cop, although I've had a lot of anger at the individual cop, and I think when individual cops fuck up and kill people, they should be held to the same legal standards as the rest of us. But the cops, they're just enforcing the system that's created, And I don't know. I think it's.
I feel like it's an ancient system that was flawed from the jump, and dude, it's not gonna fucking change unless you and I and people like us.
Yeah.
Not white.
Yeah.
but
white people provide something.
Well, dude,
provide that gringo windshield.
I feel like you have to affect the people that fucking pay these motherfuckers.
Yeah. One thing I saw,
it's
just a stupid thing. I mean, it wasn't stupid. It was a cool thing, but it was on the internet. It was a GIF or something that was on Twitter, but it was a real thing. This they were protesting police brutality. I think it was out west, out in California somewhere, and this black dude jumps up. It was a city council meeting. They're kind of disrupting it, which I'm all for. This black dude jumps up on the podium and starts giving a rant, monologue, poem about police brutality, and the cops are going in on him. And they and this group of white people just circles him, and they back off. So I don't think that's like...
I saw that too.
Yeah, I don't think it's like white people don't have a role to play in it, you know, I think...
Not at all.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, are you aware of the Russian trolling?
Yeah.
That was done to like...
If any Russian troll farms are listening right now, I would really like a job. I'm just kidding.
No, real shit.
I'd be great at that. I'd be great Russian troll. Yeah.
All right. So basically, they targeted Black Lives Matter.
Right. Yeah.
And went into like everywhere they could.
Yeah.
And fucking like put up like just divisive posts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like kind of like was just throwing, fuel on the flames.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting subject. I heard a good story about that too. I think it was in Minneapolis, St. Paul, somewhere out in the Midwest. I'm terrible with remembering this shit. Okay. But there was like an active like Black Lives Matter movement. It was specifically like a protest movement around an individual a young black man who had been murdered, and like someone like affiliated with like the Russian troll Black Lives Matter like came in and they were like, we don't know this corny ass motherfucker, like we do not know this guy at all, and they basically ran him off. So I think that I think it is an issue. But I think that like sometimes when we're on the internet, I spend way too much time on the internet. Like we see this stuff and like it has a bigger signal boost on the internet than in real life. Like real life people know what's legit and what's not. You know?
Well, dude, what's going on right now? As explained by the dude who was on Sam Harris's podcast the other day.
Right.
Facebook provides you this platform and then charges you to reach everyone.
Yeah. So the people who have the fucking, whether it's corporations, whether it's Russian troll farms, that's like a perfect example of like free speech, you know. Like, is free speech really free if the people who have the money have more means to fucking disseminate their bullshit, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, now it's literally paid speech. It's not free speech.
It is.
It's like talk for a fee. Type shit.
Just everything about...
It's fee speech.
It's fee speech, yeah.
It's fee speech. God damn.
Hashtag fee speech.
Yeah.
I feel like everything about social media... I had like a major social media addiction and I stepped back. I feel like everything...
My God, I spent 5 hours yesterday, got off, was disgusted with myself. Today I caught myself creeping for like a good 2.5 hours.
It sucks you in, man.
Oh, no, absolutely. But I like excuse myself, and I try not to beat myself up over about it because I'm really trying to build a following.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard when I have a friend who does like music booking, and
right.
I can tell she's kind of, as someone who's been there, I can tell this person's been kind of going down the rabbit hole of it, and like, but it's like she has to do it for a job. Like you can't fucking promote music without fucking Facebook. You know? Yeah.
Precisely.
It's scary.
And now it's like you're only as like. Nowadays in music is kind of fucked up because like now everyone has a better chance. Yeah. However, you're only as fucking popular as your Spotify, your Instagram, and your fucking Facebook, basically.
It's fucked, dude. I have so many things.
And your SoundCloud, my bad.
I have so many things. SoundCloud has all the best music, like in my opinion.
For real?
Yeah, I got some good shit on there. I could rant about like the social media stuff. Like fucking. When Mark Zuckerberg has a quote, I want, look up the quote, but it's like, basically he wants Facebook to be the primary means in which people engage with reality. And that's like a terrifying thought to me. To me, that's like dystopia. Like if I was gonna sit down and write 1984 or Brave New World, that would be like for modern day. That would be.
Think about it, dude. Yeah. If you and I walk in there right now. Yeah. Out of 10 people, how many people would be on their cell phones?
Probably at least 25%, and I'm being very conservative. It's probably more like 50%.
If we walk outside, same thing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like Mark Zuckerberg wants to be at the point where like I'm looking at a church right now. There's a church and a very beautiful blossoming tree.
Yeah, check out the moon.
And the moon is beautiful. Mark Zuckerberg wants like us to be have goggles or implants or whatever, just like have like pop-ups all over. And it's half ads. If you think about all the ads that you're looking at when you look.
Bro, on this shit. Yeah. After when I go to listen to what we're recording right now, there's an ad at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's fucking ads. Ads are invading everything. There used to be like a fucking controversy about whether or not gas stations could have cigarette ads, and of course, obviously the tobacco companies won that one. I'm a smoker. I'm not preaching about not smoking. Yeah. But now we're at the point where like this fucking social media shit monopolizes so much of our daily lives, and it's just all ads, and everything about it is, the algorithms that they use are so complex Facebook did a study where they could actually manipulate how people felt.
Of course.
Yeah. Yes. Facebook could hypothetically induce depression in someone and all just at the service
right.
of, you know.
And it, Jesus fuck, that smells terrible.
Poultry industry.
Is that what that is?
I think so, yeah. Ooh, oh my god.
It was like someone ate turkey shit and shitted it out.
Yeah. For those listening at home, we were at a bar and drinking and talking, and then we went to Front Porch Public Housing Complex to drink and talk. And
we got ran off.
There was a fellow who was not having it. He was like, "Y'all are loitering."
He couldn't pronounce loitering.
It
was terrible.
Yeah. So now we're out sitting on the corner. We could be sitting at the bar, but we just like a change of pace, you know. But,
right.
Yeah.
Let me. All right, real quick, I'm gonna bookmark this. I want to touch on education just real quick.
Oh god.
I don't know how long this will let me record. We're at fucking almost 26 minutes right now.
Nice.
I'm gonna stop this and start another one.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Quick reminder, I got a couple shows coming up this week. One show is Thursday. It's at Restless Moon's Brewery on Wolf Street in Harrisonburg. That show will start at 8. It's a real early start time. It's a crazy lineup. I encourage you guys to come out and show face. A lot of Waynesboro artists and some Stanton artists as well. Then on Friday, I actually be doing an opening set at the Golden Pony. Lady Tage is hosting a show with Remy. So I'm real excited about that as well. Should be fun. Lots of fun. It's a twerk contest on that one. But if you can't make it to one of the shows, come to the other one. No, fuck that. Come to both shows, matter of fact. Come to both shows. I'll be doing, my sets will be a little different for each show. So hope to see y'all there. And stay tuned on more dates that I got coming up. Much love. All peace. No war. All right, Nevin, conversation continued.
Yeah.
All right, we threw education. We threw a bookmark in education.
Yeah.
So, this is super fascinating to me. Mm-hmm. All right, so school, as we both know, has become a business.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And what happens is that this is not news to you.
No.
Just for folks listening. Basically, colleges depend on money from donors.
Yeah.
And rich people. And so, colleges are more likely to accept people with money.
Right, yeah.
You know, which creates a fucking, like, a funnel. Mm. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
for people with money.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you don't have money, A, you don't fucking fit in.
Of course.
When you go to school, and B, colleges are less likely to accept you because your family doesn't donate to them, and there's a higher likelihood of you not making money and becoming a donor in the future.
Right. What is like the value of a fucking Yale degree if we know that half the kids in Yale are just like 2.5 GPAs, parents are bribing them in? Like that becomes a weird thing.
That's probably not the case though, right?
No, I'm being hyperbolic.
Okay. But also, that's, I'm sure some of it's fucking real. I mean, George Bush apparently wasn't a brilliant student.
No.
Well,
there was
he went to Yale, right?
Yeah. There was the controversy with was it Becky from Full House or whatever? But basically the controversy which is, to me, I thought this was just commonly known. I guess finally some people are getting in trouble for it. But basically, the borderline between you're part of the alumni association, writing a donation, and just straight up bribing colleges to get your kids in.
Right.
I don't know. I think the solution, honestly, is the short-term solution. I think there's a lot of long-term systemic problems with education that need to be fixed from the ground up. But the short-term solution, I think free tuition is something that people should take more seriously. You know. But
how long do you think before it's implemented?
I don't know. I think because with any business, when a business, if you just say college is a business right now, when a business is doing something unethical, that's making them money, there's always going to be resistance to it. You know.
Well, from a business standpoint, they're not doing anything unethical.
True. They're doing business as usual. You know?
Yeah. So they're doing what a business does. Is like trying to make a profit.
Mm-hmm. But I think it's also like. Something I struggle with that gives me a lot of angst and is when I talk to people who are, say, English majors, you know, and
good luck.
Yeah, it's a joke, it's a punchline, you know, but
that's fucked up. But yeah,
and these people are gonna come out of it with tens of thousands of dollars in debt, and probably have a job similar to mine, or they could get a job as an adjunct professor, and this is not hyperbolic. They could get a job as an adjunct professor that probably pays about as much as what I make, prep cooking, which is not good money.
No way. Yeah. They got to make like 30
at best, like okay. some it becomes a problem if what's valued in education is what makes money, That's what I worry about.
Right. That's one of the things that like drew me to Andrew Yang. Mm-hmm. By the way, this Fraudcast is sponsored by Andrew Yang.
Andrew Yang, Yang Gang 2020.
Hashtag Yang Gang. Yeah. All right, no. He said that he had a business, and he worked with a lot of brilliant students that were coming out of school, and what he began to notice was that all of our most brilliant minds are going to major banks and corporations and law firms and becoming consultants and things like that.
Makes sense.
So literally all,
I believe it.
Because that's where the money is. Why wouldn't you? If you're a fucking brain, use it and make some money.
Yeah.
But the danger in that is that a lot of those jobs don't contribute to society.
No.
In
they
any way.
like leech off of society.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's literally what they do. Mm-hmm. But fucking dude, just to think about that is like, it's like a compounded problem where it's like, all right, only rich folk get into schools, and then all the best people from those schools are all getting jobs to make rich people more money.
I know, it's fucked up.
And it's like exponentially fucking what's the word I'm looking for?
Exponentially
harmful.
Fucked. Yeah, it's exponentially harmful. Exponentially fucked. I guess like what bothers me is there's like the flip side of it. I listened to a really good podcast about Mike Rowe, Dirty Jobs, critiquing him. That was like, it had a bunch of interesting critiques of him, but one.
Oh no, you did a podcast?
No, I was listening to it. I was
about to plug you, bro.
Yeah, listen. Everyone subscribe to my podcast. Yeah.
Can I get one more cigarette?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Last one, bro.
No, I was listening to this podcast that was critiquing Mike Rowe, and he has a show called Dirty Jobs, and he has a lot of shit that I think is pretty toxic for working class people to hear. But and he himself is not like a worker; he's just like a guy, like a Hollywood guy. But the idea that you shouldn't go to college, you should just go into trade school, and as someone who didn't go to college and did that, I didn't go to trade school. I'm just out here hustling. But it's like what college teaches you ideally should be like critical thinking skills, like learning literature and the English language and art and philosophy. Should stimulate someone who has a blue collar job to like critically think about like shit. Critically think about there's some fucking billionaire making money off of your labor, or
Do they want the people that work at those jobs to know that information?
I think they don't. I think that's the thing,
Right.
And I that's what scares me is like when colleges become like basically a diploma mill for like business management degrees, and like and like English becomes an English major becomes a punchline, but it's like
we just established like we're pretty much there.
We are there, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the disturbing thing. And like you said, it's like all the brilliant minds go like I think you hit the nail on the head. All the brilliant minds go into consulting for corporations,
Right, yeah.
Or they don't go to college. That's
Right.
They come out in debt and go back to working in bartending. That's my hope, is that all the bartenders with master's degrees organize their workforces.
Yeah. What I'm trying to get in the habit of doing is not talking about problems without just like spitballing some solutions.
Yeah.
Maybe some that like however you heard it, if we could just get ideas out there, I think that potentially that could affect people. If you could think of a solution to the education problem, what would it be, dude?
I think college needs to be more accessible. I think it needs to be, I'd go as far as say free tuition, but I think at the very least it needs to be more accessible. And I think the problem we have now is that it's a competition to see who can get the, people like Hillary Clinton who are opposed to universal college, like free college tuition. say like, oh, there's financial aid and there's like diversity scholarships, but that, I think the problem with that is it becomes like a competition to see who can get it, you know. Right. Where it's like, why is it that like you have
all the rich people get in, no questions asked, but if you're poor, you have to beat out every other poor fucking person to like have a chance.
Exactly. And it becomes
you got to win a lottery from fucking writing a super dope essay.
Yeah, exactly. And it becomes this fucking like this system where like this hypothetical public school classroom in Baltimore, the teacher goes into it knowing that most of these kids are not going to go to college, and that this one brilliant kid who's going to get discovered and get the grant, you know. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, you know, I mean, and I'm not anti like kids going to trade school, you know, but like if that's what they want to do, but you know, I think a lot of it is to, you know, we talk about the college is broken. I think K through 12 public education is broken. I think
dude, that's actually what I really want to delve into. Yeah. Bro, so what if like every 4 years we took all the teachers from the best schools and put them at the worst schools and took all the and just switch teachers every 4 years?
That's not a bad idea, you know. I think the problem is there's a lot of good teachers in bad schools, but the schools are set up to fail. I think that's the problem. It's not.
You think they're intentionally set up to fail, or the system is old and doesn't fucking keep up with what we got going on now?
I think it's a little bit of both. I don't think there's some Illuminati being like, let's set this up to fail. But I think that the ruling class is happy with it failing. I mean, you know, and I think it is a lot of antiquated things that will never.
Bro, you're gonna love this. Do you know when public school became mandatory? Mm-mm. Dude, it was after a fucking like a riot.
Oh yeah. A lot of that history is here in Virginia too. You know.
No way.
Yeah, a lot of that.
I thought that shit was in New York.
There was some stuff like that in New York. I'm not a huge expert in New York history, but Virginia has this history of that. There was a readjuster party that basically one of their main, they were pretty radical for the time. One of their main things was like funding public education. That was a radical idea. You know, public education was a radical idea, and that had a lot to do with race in Virginia too, like not wanting to educate black kids, poor white kids too. You know. Yeah. And the people had to fight for it. You know, I have a friend who's a teacher, and she's a big activist and advocate for like not only for teachers getting paid more, which I think they should, but also like more funding for education, which I think it's, you know, for public education. I think that when you have I think that oftentimes there's something like public education where it gets underfunded to the point where it breaks, and it's like, oh, this is broken, we need to get rid of it. But you know, I think it's something that's worth fighting for, you know, personally.
Yeah. I'm really interested in Montessori schools.
Oh yeah,
just like that whole, like the whole theory behind that is like let people do what sparks their interest and see how far they go.
Yeah. I have a friend who's a Montessori school teacher too. I think that a lot of the way that the public school system approaches, I used to be a preschool teacher. A lot of the way.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Back when I was like 18. The preschool teachers don't get paid enough. That's a big issue.
Is it like 20?
Not even that.
No way.
Yeah. Like maybe the head teacher, like, but I think the problem is like preschool education needs to be a public thing, and I think that, but also I think that on the flip side of that, I think that pre-K education should be publicly funded like public school, but I also think that the way young children are educated needs to be approached differently, because young children are at an age where they just want to explore and play, and that's how they learn. And I think what happens is we have this underfunded, this private system in the U.S. of pre-K education that's just like this network of daycares and stuff that's falling apart.
Right.
Teachers aren't getting paid, and like, but then there's that, and it's a very weak system, and a lot of kids don't even go to that, and then they just get thrown into kindergarten, first grade, and it's just like sit down at a desk, and it's like it's such a, I think for like a young mind, it's such a, for like this mind that's developing and exploring, I think there needs to be more room for kids to explore. And the teachers who are there on the ground know how to do it. You just got to set up the environment so that they can explore things that are beneficial to their education and find out what they want to do, as opposed to just like sit down, take this like standardized test. You know, I think the standardized testing is fucked up.
There's a lot wrong with that.
Yeah.
All right, so real quick, do you think that? Well, take your time, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But, do you think the government your ideal government, if all the people that you wanted was in local government, was in, state government, and fucking, federal as well.
Yeah.
Alright, so, do you think even with all those people in the right places, that the government can solve our problems?
I would say no, but I think it's...
So, even if it was, ideal, and everyone was in agreement upon what needed to be done...
Yeah.
Do you think still, even then, they'd be completely ineffective at solving the problems that we're looking at now?
I think that that would be the problem. Is to get to that point, there'd be a bunch of chaos and revolution and stuff. But I think that the current government that exists is not. I think that the current government is built to help out rich people. So it's set up to fail. I think that if you I think that the government isn't just something out here. I think that it's there's different classes of people who benefit from different governments, and I think the current government is set up to help rich people. So I think that...
Has it ever been set up not like that?
I don't know. Not in our current history. But, yeah.
Is there a government that exists today, do you think, it's not set up like that?
No, I don't think so.
No. Okay.
Yeah. But, it's...
Are we closer to change?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you think people are really fed up now?
I hope so. I hope the people who are fed up don't just get burnt out and nihilistic and are
hey.
Yeah.
Well, no, I feel like that's America right now.
Yeah,
I feel like that's the left side right now.
Yeah.
Is they're burnt out and nihilistic. Bro.
Yeah, that's the problem. And it just gets too fucking...
And they're fucking gonna eat their own very, very soon.
Yeah, I try not to go on people on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram who are left-leaning people. I try not to go on that because I feel like that's a total distraction. But went on recently, and they were just arguing about the fucking Notre Dame church burning down, and it's
yeah, let's talk about that.
I don't know. I think it's it basically it's a fucking 13th century church. It is very beautiful. People like living around beautiful things. People like being, and I feel like that church was fucking, the Hunchback of Notre Dame is how it's most famous,
Right.
And you read that book, and that guy Victor Hugo, he's talking about this is this beautiful piece of history that Paris is neglecting and doesn't give a shit about. And I think that's what happened with
Someone super neglected it.
Yeah,
straight violated it.
Yeah. And a lot of ordinary people are mad about that, and you see this fucking 13th century church burning down on the internet, and you're mad about it, and I don't know. I saw...
Hold on.
Yeah.
What was your perception of why or how people were mad about it?
I think people...
From what angle? Because we might be seeing two very different things.
Sure, I feel like a lot of people are seeing it. I don't even think people are mad about it. I think people are just sad at the loss of something like that, And
I didn't...
Yeah.
What I got more on my timeline was everyone complaining about people complaining about it.
Yeah, okay, so that's what I wanted to get into, was these leftist people.
That's all that I'm fucking seeing is they're all right, let me get this out real quick.
Yeah.
Dude, I was like a cunt hair short of getting on everybody's feed who said some shit about it and commenting this.
Yeah.
For the listeners, basically what the post that I was seeing was all y'all see how much money they raised that quick for this old church.
Right.
But they still haven't fixed Flint water.
Yeah.
My whole thing is this, is if y'all know how rich people act, stop fucking talking about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And fucking do something about it.
Exactly.
Alright, my thing is this. Y'all mad because rich people help rich people.
Yeah.
But y'all aren't fucking poor people helping poor people.
Exactly.
How many goddamn bottles of water have you sent to Flint?
Yeah, what are you doing?
You haven't sent shit to Flint, and you're fucking bitching about people raising fucking millions of dollars for this church.
Yeah. No, it's
my whole, and on that same topic, which shows just how much of a fucking hypocrite I am.
Yeah.
Dude, when I saw that those houses burned at, was it Southview?
Yeah.
And how much money they raised in 3 days.
Uh-huh.
Dude, I was like a little fucking angry.
Right, yeah. You had like resentment, yeah.
Dude, straight up.
Yeah.
And the main reason is because, bro, like, there's a lot of people that fucking are stuck downtown.
Yeah.
And they don't have enough. They eat fucking beans in a can.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, every meal of the day.
Yeah.
Why is there never, like, how can fucking we never raise that kind of fucking money in that kind of time period for these people?
Absolutely.
You give any one of these motherfuckers $80,000.
Yeah.
They're not gonna look crazy on the side of the road.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
I agree completely. But it's like, why aren't you and I out there doing that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I got that benefit show for OCP coming up. So,
Everyone go to the benefit show for OCP, although this probably won't be on the internet when it's...
Yeah, exactly right. It'll probably already happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, and what I'm trying to learn now is how to fucking get in contact with the same people that fucking raise that kind of money for those causes and hip them to new causes and like, yo, no one else is going to fucking try it if I don't.
Yeah, well, exactly.
I don't know, that's maybe a dumbass viewpoint.
But hey, it shouldn't stop you from doing it. You know?
Precisely, yeah. My whole thing is like, dude, I'm tired of watching problems and never trying to even fucking put a dent in it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And then when it becomes like when it's like you're not even out there helping the people in Flint, Michigan, you're not even out there. When you're just like using that as like a way to shit on like your Aunt Karen.
Yes. Yeah, like, dude, that's everyone's like MO now. Everyone does that shit.
Yeah. Like it's just so fucking it's so,
they're like, this shitty thing happened. Like, well, fucking motherfuckers won't help Flint.
Yeah. It's like that's
neither will you, asshole.
You know,
get your shit together.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like why they fucking. I mean,
people fucking like. To complain now is orgasmic online.
It is.
That's what it seems like now.
And it's like this pressure valve that doesn't go anywhere because it doesn't change anything. It fucking going online and complaining doesn't change anything.
No, it does change things.
Yeah.
It frustrates you more.
Yeah, it raises your cortisol level, and it's just set up to that. Like Mark Zuckerberg isn't designing Facebook to helping. It's just set up to just like yell into an echo chamber, and it becomes a distraction.
And that's how. From what I learned recently, that's like they funnel you into these groups. And then the groups get like radicalized. Because they create this perception of reality based off all these other radical people that they've been funneled to.
Nine out of the 10 people who are complaining about this church, like Notre Dame burning down, are like not. I wasn't even seeing the original people talking about how sad it was that it burnt down, which it is sad. Like, you know, fucking. But like, I just saw these people, like my leftist Facebook friends, complaining about it.
Right,
like,
but it's like everything has become like politicized. And fucking like. Everything is a reason to virtue signal now. And that's upsetting.
I'm okay with stuff being politicized, but I don't like the virtue signaling. I don't like the fucking virtue signaling because I feel like it's a fucking. It just becomes this like media distraction. I don't know the best way to articulate. Like
it for me, it loses fucking credibility. Like with people. You know what I'm saying? It's like we get it. You don't like racism. No fucking shit.
No shit. Like you know, what does this have to do?
Don't tell us. Tell your fucking granddad.
Exactly. And like, what does it have to do with like fucking? You know, a fucking church party.
Exactly. Another interesting thing to talk about is like. How everything's being like over racialized right now.
I think it's a lot of white people who are. I think a lot of it stems from there's a lot of white people who are very poor, and they're poor because they're being exploited, and they're getting a raw deal too. And if you can distract them from if you can distract them from like the actual people who are fucking them over, the Donald Trumps of the world. I don't mean Donald Trump the president. I mean Donald Trump the real estate developer. Like the actual fucking billionaires.
The Apprentice guy?
Yeah, the Apprentice guy. Donald Trump
the guy that pretends to fire people for a show where he has a fake business?
Where you're not mad at the guy who's saying you're fired, and you know, you're not mad at the people who are keeping your wages stagnant, and you're
mad at that rich douchey character.
You're not mad at that guy. You're mad at like black people or Mexicans. Like I feel like that's where a lot of it stems from. A lot of the racialization stems from, you know.
Okay. I see it I see it from both sides right now.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like if the left can like racialize an issue, they will. because they think it's going to win them favor.
Yeah.
With like a young voting base.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it's a lot of, I don't know. It's a hard thing for me to talk about, but like it's a lot of
Well, it's certainly not a comfortable thing.
It's not a comfortable thing.
Yeah.
I feel like there's.
God damn it! Can I get one?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Don't even. There's a lot of.
I'm gonna beat myself up over that.
Yeah. You know, smoking cigarettes and talking goes hand in hand.
I feel.
I grew up like. We're talking about politics. No.
Y'all ain't chilling at the pony?
We're chilling at the pony. We're old school.
We're doing a fake podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, you recording right now?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
No, what are your view of racial politics?
As he listens to the fucking Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah. No,
Ja feel.
I feel like
more of that, please.
Yeah.
No, just
I feel like I grew up in a very not lily white, but I grew up very white and.
See you later.
Oh yeah, absolutely. My grandparents were very like white liberal do-gooders. I'm not taking that away from them. They were.
Do you think society wants you to feel guilty for that?
I think there's a segment of society that does, but also, I don't think white guilt is constructive. Like, I don't think it's constructive, but I do think that, I mean, there's a, you know, what has happened to black folks and what's happened to Latino folks and, you know, Native American people in this country is horrendous. And I don't want to, like, anyone who feels guilty about that, I don't want to, like, shit on you. Like, but I don't think it's, I think what happens is that,
well,
yeah,
I kind of feel like, dude, if people you had no control over did terrible things, dude, that's not, you know that it's terrible. Everyone knows that it's terrible. You feeling a sense of guilt from someone else's actions is not doing anything to help the problem that's been done. Just like what you were saying.
I had a buddy, this guy Mac.
It's not constructive.
This guy Mac, he was, this goes back to the beginning of our conversation. He was in prison. He, in prison was part of this group that was called, it was like the New African Black Panther Party prison chapter. And it was,
oh shit.
It was pretty, militant, but also like a lot of, like the human rights abuses that go on in Virginia prisons. I could go on about that. And like a lot of racism that goes on in there too.
Bro,
yes. But he's like came from like inner city Richmond and born and raised, and a lot of the prisons out there, a lot of the prisons here in Virginia are like out there in the boonies, Southwest Virginia.
Right. Yeah.
And he like one of the few radio stations that reaches it, and they actually, I don't know if they still do, but they had a hip hop show for the prisoners, which was pretty cool. But they also played a lot of bluegrass, and he felt like a very strong connection to the bluegrass music and the old time Appalachian music that he was hearing.
Was he white or black?
He was black.
Okay.
But he this was like the first time he heard this music, and like that music spoke to him on like a common ground of like a class thing is what it is, you know, and like a experience of oppression that he came out of that like not resenting white people. He resented the ruling class a lot, which I agree with.
Bro, I just wish that everyone's anger could be directed towards that. I feel like that would be a lot more constructive.
Yeah.
What's up, dude?
Same time, I don't want to be the white guy out there telling people that, but then well,
my thing is like, if you're not gonna be that dude, then champion someone of a different skin color that is gonna say that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And don't like be ashamed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. A lot of It's a lot of like self-flagellation. It's a lot of performance. It's like performative. It's like you said virtue signaling. That's a good and like performative wokeness.
Masturbatory.
It's very masturbatory. And another person that I think is a good example, Fred Hampton, who was one of the founders of the original.
Yo.
Yeah.
Hey, listeners, if y'all get a chance, YouTube Fred Hampton and just listen to him talk.
Yo.
Any speech you can find of Fred Hampton's, listen to that man talk and then understand his story. It's incredible, man.
Seconded 100%. One of my favorite stories of his is so this was in Chicago, South Side of Chicago, where he was organizing, and you know they were already racialized before they were already.
You familiar with the redlining?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of redlining, but also like within the ghetto there were different like segregation within the ghetto. Like there were like Puerto Ricans stuck to their own kind, and blacks stuck to their own kind, Chicanos, and there was like a lot of rural white people were immigrating up there from Appalachia. And there was just like a highway that went up through there, and we're basically stuck in the ghetto too. But they were like wearing like denim jackets and Confederate flag patches and stuff, and a lot of bikers. And he like went into a biker bar and was like, you know, the story goes that he went in there and they asked him what he was doing in there, like, you know, because like a black guy with a leather jacket walks in there, and he said the N-word. I'm going to say black people because I don't, you know. But he was like, I'm here to organize black people. And they were like, well, there's no black people here. And he's like, boss works you like black people, the cops treat you like black people, you're black people in my book. And like,
for real?
Yeah. But it was, you know, a lot of those folks.
Dude, that message should be spread more, that the Black Panthers believed. All right, you say it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. A lot of the they ended up like there was
coming from two white dudes.
Coming from two white dudes, yeah.
The Black Panthers loved white folks.
Yeah, exactly. No, there was this group. It was like a lot of the groups that like joined with like the Panther Coalition were gangs before they became political organizations, and this was one of them. They were like called the Young Patriot Organization. They had Confederate flags and stuff, but they became like politicized by the Panthers, and they like, you know, basically turned this like redneck gang that like had Confederate flags into like this like leftist political organization. And they kept the Confederate flags, but they like put a black star over it, which I guess like had like a deeper political symbolism. And eventually they stopped flying the Confederate flag altogether, but you know. Okay. But I just like when you see like a poor white person with a Confederate flag, it's like, and you're like the fucking racist. I don't know, like what there's an example of someone who wasn't like sugarcoating their racism, but he was confronting it and interrogating them about it, you know, and that's, you know, and empathizing with them, you know.
I have a theory that every old-timey racist knows or works or has worked with a black dude that he's like, he's one of the good ones.
Yeah.
You know? And it's always like the people they haven't met that they don't like.
Yeah.
But like, the people that you do meet, you're like, oh, this is a fucking pretty good dude.
Every black dude I know is one of the good ones, but this like media specter of like the dangerous black guy. Yeah.
The dude I've never met is the guy that I'm fucking pissed off at.
That's so true.
Shit, man. Do you know much about Marcus Garvey?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Dude, I wish that his story would be told a lot more. And
I wish I knew more, honestly, but you know. But yeah, I definitely knew a little bit.
He was big into like Pan-Africanism.
Yeah, for sure.
Like organizing folk and just everybody going back to Africa.
Yeah. I think hey, how are you? Good. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I mean, it was like an interesting time and place. I'm not super educated on Marcus Garvey. I do know there's a really bomb-ass Jamaican restaurant in Richmond. It has a portrait, has a mural, and Marcus Garvey's on it. But
yeah, I know.
Jamaican. Check it out if you're ever in Richmond.
Jamaican.
Yeah.
Mute.
But yeah, I don't know. There was also like Harriet Tubman was a big advocate of like not moving back to Africa because like she viewed it as like they took us here by force, and like she was using like onions as a metaphor. They like planted us, and now we're growing here. Now they want to uproot us and just give us our fucking freedom here, you know. But I think it's interesting. I don't really want to step into this.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
But I think Marcus Garvey is very maligned, and he was a very important historical figure who gets no credit, you know.
What's a maligned mean?
Maligned, talked about in a.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's like not taught at all. Actually, is the problem. But
right.
Yeah.
Brilliant dude. If listeners, if y'all ever do hear this, definitely check out Marcus Garvey's speeches as well. Brilliant dude with a lot of things to say.
Yeah, definitely.
And a lot of it's still applicable to today.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna go through like every black historical figure we know.
Yeah.
W.B. Du Bois.
Oh yeah. Black Reconstruction in the South is a great book. If you can get through it, great book. That's really interesting.
Have you ever heard of the book called Black Folks?
Yeah. I've never read it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, I heard the audio of that, and that was phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
That's some good shit. Yeah.
It really is. How do you want to wrap this up?
It's a good question. What is a convenient way to wrap it up?
I don't know, man. Want to do 60 a minute and a half on religion?
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Okay.
My religion. Yeah. That's my grandfather was a minister, a Mennonite minister, and I don't know. I mean, I'm an atheist, but I don't like how atheists are so dogmatic these days.
Because that's what they don't like about the church, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I mean, you know, I think that, like, I think the church as an institution is corrupt, but I think that the way people perceive it in their daily lives is different. It's a source of community that I feel like once you can shit on religion all you want, but once you get rid of the church, like once you stop going to church, I don't go to church, but I used to, you know, when I was a kid. You know, that sense of community is gone. Like, what do you replace it with? The bar? Like,
right, dude. Yeah. And speaking of that, that's how a lot of the civil rights movement was organized, was at churches.
Yeah, exactly.
And now that's been, like, churches have been, like, kind of bought out by the government.
Yeah, exactly.
The way I've heard it explained.
A lot of, like, churches that run, like, private corporations, too.
Correct. Yeah, exactly right, man. It's wild. Yeah. I feel like church can either give you a purpose or take your purpose away.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You know, it's a tool like anything else.
Yeah,
you know?
It is, really is. And, you know, Jesus threw out the money changers, so any Christians are listening, like, go do that.
Or, like, for anyone that's listening, don't hate on Jesus till you read everything he said.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Jesus was a revolutionary.
He said a lot of really good stuff. I think there's a book called Jesus Was a Socialist.
Oh, nice. I'm all about that.
I think there's another book called Jesus Was a Buddhist.
Yeah. A really great book is Zealot. It's by an Islamic scholar. I don't know how, like, he might just be culturally Muslim, but but it's like it's like straight up religious, like looking at the historical Jesus, just like say like kind of classical research into like who this historical Jesus was, and basically came to the conclusion that he was a radical, you know, which I think is right. It makes a very compelling case for it. It's a good book that I recommend Christians read.
Oh, dude, he was super radical.
Yeah.
There's a great book called Crazy Love. I read it one time. It's a Christian book, but it made me cry.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, no,
I mean, that's good. The thing. Like, Christianity still evokes that emotional response for me too. You know,
my whole thing is entertain every good tenet from every religion.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like be hesitant to accept any belief system without thoroughly learning about all belief systems.
Yeah. I guess, like, the Christian...
You know what I mean? Like, look at everything. Yeah. Because they're all beautiful books, man. And they all have, like, super valid things
I guess, like,
within all of them.
The critique of Christianity that I would make is, like, don't look around at the world, and I don't think this is even the Christian thing to do, but I think a lot of Christians do it, is, like, look around at the world, see all the misery and poverty and fucked up shit in the world, and be like, well, I'm going to go to heaven, and heaven's going to be good. I think that Jesus would be out here fucking changing that shit so that people on earth could be happy. You know?
Well, dude, I'm glad you brought this up.
Yeah.
Before Jesus, like, ascended into heaven,
one
of the last things he says was, the kingdom of heaven is within you.
Exactly, you know? Exactly.
Right. Yeah, and there's actually a lot of, like...
Oh, yeah, this is the perfect location.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking of places where you can make a strip club.
Oh,
because we need one. And a Dave & Buster's.
Strip club and a Dave & Buster's.
Let's get
I'm just saying, it makes sense, right? Harrisonburg is dead. We need to do things like that.
There should be. I agree. We shouldn't have to drive all the way to West Virginia to, like, see some ass shaking.
The problem with Virginia is you have to wear pasties in Virginia.
Huh?
Not at all of them.
Really?
Yeah, I've been to Portsmouth.
Wear pasties. You can't show nipples in Virginia.
That's not.
Who the fuck is gonna find out?
You better have someone on the inside, like someone on the force.
Nah, but
What do you mean? You got the cops. Once you have a license to get a business place for that gentleman's club,
yeah,
then you're good. And you have to get a liquor license to sell liquor.
Right.
That's all I'll
that, for like the first month, have the females wear clothes and everything, and do everything properly. After that, after they stop checking on your ass, all hell loose.
Yeah, here's a.
As long as there's a Dave & Buster's.
Here's an idea. Get around so you don't have to get any licenses or anything. Hire strippers to come to a private party, and just do their thing at a place that a location already is at, so you don't have to get a license, and you can just use somebody else's place, but just pay the strippers and save the overhead.
But you don't get it. I'm trying to make money.
Yeah, I'm saying there's still gonna be strippers there.
But you got to pay them.
Right, but at least you don't have to pay rent and pay for the license and pay for the liquor.
That's true.
It's a way to do it without paperwork. If you're inviting
people to a place to watch strippers, nobody's going to pay you.
They will if you take what's at the door.
I mean, but will you have a lot of people come?
Yeah.
I'm down with this as long as you let the strippers unionize. Then I'm down.
Okay. Oh, see, I'm gonna get strippers down here in Virginia. Like, I'll get bitches from like somewhere out of state.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go to California and ask for girls, be like, yo, I'm opening a strip club. I'll pay for your ticket, whatever. You can come live down here. I'll pay you good money and everything. You just gotta be a stripper in my club. Fuck yeah. New York, Chicago, Atlanta, somewhere, especially Atlanta. Them bitches.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
I went to one. I didn't want to leave. I felt like a little kid. I'm like, no. I was mad and everything. I was like, I'm staying. Fucking love her. Look at her. She slapped me in the face with her titties for free. She actually did that. She smacked me in the face with her titties for free.
Damn.
I was like, I'm about to buck your shit.
Did you tip her?
Yeah, I tipped her.
Then it wasn't free.
Because I was being a gentleman.
I feel you.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
She did it. She did it without me asking for it, and without me even looking at her. She just came over and. So I was like, "Fuck it, you're being nice. Let me be nice."
It's lit.
Payback, you know?
I feel you.
Yeah, no, but because I work at the mall.
Oh yeah. Where do you work at?
H-Burg.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
And it's a good place, good traffic, fun place. But the mall, I'm looking at it it's kind of bad.
Yeah, the mall's dead.
The only thing that they opened that's pretty cool is the elevation bridge.
Yeah.
But it's small.
Yeah.
So like, we guys and other people, girls too, and kids and stuff, need somewhere fun to go. So Dave and Buster's makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
And for guys, because we have nowhere fucking fun to go and spend guy time together, a strip club.
You gotta put them in the same place.
Yeah. You should petition the city for that.
Yeah.
Be extra.
Right.
So fucking extra. It's the middle of the night, nobody want to hear that shit. But you know what we need? It's a paintball place.
Paintball?
There's none in Harrisonburg. Like, I think you gotta go to Charlottesville, or like 2 hours away from here to find one.
Yeah, there used to be one in like Fishersville, Store Straft area.
And that's far from here.
It's closer than up top.
True, but it's almost just as far.
You think so?
Kinda. I mean, the reason I want to open that paintball place is the kids.
Yeah.
Like high school students.
But
they like guns. They like playing with shit.
Yeah.
That's a steady income of money.
Right.
Because they ask parents for money.
Do that
they
shit.
Come to my place. Good prices.
Yeah.
Shit, I'm like, yeah, it's $20 for, I don't know, 1,000 paintballs and the gun. That's it. Oh, cool. Thank you.
When are you gonna get started on that?
Maybe when I turn 21.
Yeah.
When I'm legal of age. And
start now, bro.
Yeah, start planning.
Yeah.
Well, I'm already planning. I already got places.
Oh, yeah.
I got a couple.
You talking to us? You letting us know? I see your marketing. I respect that.
Yeah, it's marketing.
Yeah.
Well,
marketing.
I like brainstorming.
Yeah.
I already have a friend in Connecticut. His dad owns a paintball and gun surplus place. So I could just hit him up and he can send me
there you go.
a bulk load for like a good price.
Yeah, do that.
And I also have a lot of connections too. I got a cousin in New York. I'm like, yo, send me like 500 pounds of green.
Yo, don't say all that.
Don't say all that. Yeah,
I said green for a reason.
Yeah.
Green paint for the paintball.
Yeah.
Satire.
Yeah, but like, send it right to the mail.
Yeah.
Easy.
Hell yeah, dude. That's what's up.
And that's way better than anything you can get down here. Trust me.
Maybe.
Oh shit! Look who's here.
Anyway, Jesus.
All right, so back to religion.
Hey, have a nice night, guys.
You too, man.
Give a quick conversation. So I seem a little bored.
I respect that. Nah, we were talking about some other stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, you know anyone where there's like an outdoor plug by any chance?
Not even, bro.
Got like a 30%.
Yeah.
And we all know that doesn't last long.
If you go in the bar, they might have.
I was already there. That's where I charge it, and I don't want to be there longer.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. It feels awkward.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Good luck, man.
All right, thank you. Have a nice night.
See you, dude.
Be safe.
No doubt.
Yeah, so we're talking about Jesus and then strippers.
Yeah, we're talking about Jesus.
Jesus and then went straight to strippers.
Straight to strippers.
Yeah.
So fellas.
Anyway, let's call it. Jesus was cool.
Jesus was a stripper.
Jesus would kick Donald Trump out of the temple.
Job field.
Yeah.
And that wraps it up. Yo,
that wraps it up.
Thank you so much,
yeah,
bro.
absolutely. Yeah.
This is fun.